Alright, hi everyone, welcome to the video tutorial series. This is episode number 7 with Matplotlib tutorial series. So far you have learned a lot in Matplotlib tutorial series. You have learned a lot. Basically, you have learned how to plot data using Matplotlib. Then you have learned how to customize the graph using like the axis label, the y-axis label, how to limit the axis. We have learned how to use grid on the background. We have learned how to add colors, styles to the graph. So we have learned a lot. Then we learned in the last lecture, that is episode number 6, we learned about how do we load data from a file or a text file with the CSV module. So how we can plot the data using Matplotlib. So let me introduce you today to one of the most important topics, right? So that is the live graph with Matplotlib tutorial. Live graph is basically used to depict live data or live changes in values of a graph. So like stock market or live data of a dollar rate, or any stock price if you want to display using Python live. So you can do that. So this is a very important tutorial. Even it is used to display the sensor values. So let's get started right into action. So for this video, you would be needing the following libraries. So let me go to the IntelliJ and start coding. So let me just try block. So just in case if I don't have a library, it does not run an error, right? So import matplotlib.pyplot as plt. All right. Then I need import as usual numpy as np. Then I'm gonna import CSV. Now, the two important libraries for Matplotlib, that is from matplotlib.animations import as animation. So I'm going to say import, let me just make sure if I'm writing it correct, right? So yep, so I'm going to say import matplotlib.animation as, actually, you know what, that's not the correct one. I should say from matplotlib.animation from import. Oh yeah, that's correct actually. So import as animation. Then what do I need after animation? Animation is used for animating stuff using Matplotlib. Then I need a backend. That is, I need to say from matplotlib.backends.tkagg. So let me just make sure if it's correct. _tkag. So we have to import the figure canvas and the navigation toolbar. So I'm just gonna say comma navigation toolbar to tk. So that's the one that we require in our tutorial. Then I'm gonna import styles from Matplotlib just to make everything a little bit beautiful. So from Matplotlib, I'm gonna say import styles. All right, and I'm gonna say an except block if these libraries are not there. Give me an error, don't crash my program. Library not found as usual. All right, so yeah, so far we are doing so good. So let's move with the presentation. So we have imported the necessary library that we need. Okay, so now let's see what else do we need. So as usual, we need to define our figure and axis. So let me go ahead and do that for you. So I'm gonna say fig equals plt dot figure, that's correct, and axis ax equals to, I'm gonna say it's gonna be fig dot, so I'm gonna say fig underscore, just want to make sure I don't make any errors, so just want to refer my slides as well while I'm coding it. So what this does basically, add subplot, is basically create one row, one column, place my graph on the first row, first column. So basically we are creating a grid. Think this as just a grid. So just trying to align my code properly so it looks neat. So we have done two parts. We have imported the library, we have created our axis and figure. Now we need to create a list so that basically that has the data, right? X equals to, I'm gonna say blank list, y equals to blank list. Okay, so far good. All right, now we need to we are gonna grab data from a text file. So let me just go ahead and define a function get underscore data. I'm gonna say okay, then I'm gonna say width Let me just see if I have a text file. Do I have a text file here in my computer? I don't. Yeah, I do have a sample text, so I'm gonna use that one. All right, so we're gonna say with open the name of the file. In my case, it's sample.txt. What I want to do with the file, I want to read that file, so I'm going to specify read, and I'm just going to give a name, and don't forget the colon. I'm sorry for that. All right, so we have opened our file. Now what we need to do, we need to limit the data. So I'm going to say data, step by step, everything. So data equals to file dot. So the command here is we are using a CSV module. I can read the file. I can just want to make sure that the file exists. So that's why I'm gonna do a quick read line and just gonna print the data out. So just want to make sure that my file is already there inside. So if I quickly run my software, I should see some sample values. Okay, so import numpy. All right, so we made a mistake here. It's as numpy as np, not sa. So a small mistake. All right, let's correct that, and let's see if this works. So the code was successful, but I was not able to read any data there. So instead of a read, I'm gonna say read lines, and quickly run that. So I have my sample.txt here, and the data is there inside the file. Just making sure that it's working, and I have my debug script right there. So oh yeah, the reason it was not printing is because I was not calling the function, right? So I'm gonna say __ name equals to, all right, so main, I forgot to call the function, sorry about that. So get _ data. Now it should print the values. So just want to make sure that the file is there and I have the values inside. All right, it works absolutely great, and let's move forward with the presentation. So now we are going to use the CSV module as we saw that in the episode number 6. So I'm going to say CSV dot reader. So here you can see in my presentation as well. Then we're going to say file comma delimiter equals to a comma, because in my CSV, I mean in my text file, the values are separated by comma, so I just want to separate those values, and then we're just gonna iterate over the data. So as expected, so we have a for loop. So let me print this out to make sure that I have the correct stuff, So I quickly run this. All right, so now it's created. It is created as a CSV object, which is good for us. Now let's iterate over that for. I'm gonna say x in data. Don't forget the colon. All right, because that's important. All right, so I'm gonna say print x. So basically, it should print all the values in the CSV. All right, that's beautiful, absolutely great. So what are we gonna do next is we are gonna filter this out, and we need to append the data. So how are we gonna do that? So what I am gonna do usually, so if you see the length of this is 2, right? So just to make sure my data is a little bit clean and I have, just to filter out properly. So I'm gonna say if my length of my data is equal to, is greater than equal to 1, then only print this. So this is basically the same thing that I wrote. Just want to make sure that this work. Yep. Now I'm just gonna append the values in the variable x and y that I just created up. So let me just name it x1 y1. So why? Because I'm already using a variable x in my for loop, so just don't want to mess up everything. So x1 dot append. Then I'm gonna I'm gonna say the data is in which value? It's in data, right? So as you can see here, so we're gonna say line 0. So in this case we have x, right? So we're gonna say x0. So just the variable is changing here. So if I say x0, and sorry for that, and similarly I'm gonna append the y1 value as well. Okay, and I'm gonna say x1. So basically just append the values of x and y. After you're done reading this, I just want to make sure that I have the correct data, in my x1 variable. So just want to print x1. I should get a list. Oh, lovely. I'm getting my data right there. So it's appending in the list. All right. So now let's define the function for animation. So it's pretty simple, not that complicated as well. So let's define a function. So define animate, animate. I'm gonna pass in I, which is basically the interval after which this function has to be executed. Pretty simple, not too complicated. Then again, we need to clear the axes, because so it's usually a good practice to clear the axis. So I'm gonna say clear. Yep, that's correct. Now I need to call my function, that is the get data. Oh, you know what? Actually, let me return x and y. All right, so I forgot the return. Yeah, this should work. Actually, it should work. Yeah, so I'm gonna say get data. So I need to store that in a variable, right? Because I'm getting the data, or else it's fine, because why? I'm gonna explain you that, because I'm gonna call this get data. It's gonna keep on updating this variable x1 and y1, and I'm just gonna plot here the x1 and y1, because in here I'm gonna call animate. Animate is gonna call get data, and get data will constantly keep on updating this, and basically I'm gonna plot this list, right? So it does not matter if I want to store it or not, but if you do want to store it, yes, you can. So I can say x comma y equals to, I'm gonna say x2 y2, just in case. I know I don't need that actually, but just to make sure. So then we are gonna plot our data. So ax dot plot, sorry for that, and I'm gonna say x1 y1. Actually, as I said, I don't need x2 y2, right? So just to make sure. All right, so after that, what we are gonna do is we are gonna define the animate function. So let's do that. So any equals to animation dot func animation. Then we are gonna pass the function and the interval. So here you can see basically first you have to pass in a figure, then the name of the function. In my case, it's animate. Am I right? Animate. All right, and then we have to pass the interval to that animate. So comma a interval equals to 2000. So just make sure to call that, and don't forget to say plt.show. And that's it, guys. You are done with your live graph. It should work ideally. I mean, let's just try. Ideally it should work. So the code looks perfect, the logic is correct, so it should work. So the code that we just wrote right now, so let me just run and show you that it works absolutely great. So yeah, this is the data from the sample.txt. Let me open that for you, and if I can also update it simultaneously, which I'm not sure. I was wondering if I can make this window a little small so I can show you that the graph is updating live. Yep, that's all I can do. Now I'm gonna say 4,4 and just hit the save button. So it should update. Here you see it has just updated 5,8 and save. So here you see it's working absolutely fine. Let me just close that and go ahead with the presentation. Right, just give me 1 sec while I open my presentation once again. So I'm gonna go to my documents and I'm gonna go to my research paper, presentation, Windows, and Matplotlib. So just gonna open that. So yep, and a slideshow. All right, so back to the presentation. We have learned about live graph. We learned about the libraries that we need to import. We just code it. Then we learn about we have to create a figures and axis. Then we created 2 blank list. Then we created a function known as getData, which was opening the sample file, that is the text file, splitting the data by comma, and we are appending into a list. and we created a function known as animate, which will actually basically draw the function. So let's move forward. So that's the end of the bootcamp tutorial with Python. So there are total 7 episodes, and I hope you have enjoyed a lot and learned a lot in this bootcamp, right from tutorial 1 to 7. If you enjoyed and if you like my videos, please help me by subscribing to my channel and liking to the videos. That's what I need, and I am gonna make some deep learning tutorials now. So that's the end of the Python Matplotlib tutorial bootcamp. So if you have any questions, please let me know by typing your questions or by letting me know through the comment section below. You can send me an email at shahsoumil519@gmail.com. So thank you very much, and I will see you guys next time.